Saturday, October 7, Embarkation Day, for the start of our Grand European river cruise from Amsterdam to Budapest. Or so we thought at the time. The embarkation point was a short taxi ride from our hotel, past Central Station, to the dock for all brands of river cruise vessels. The Viking company call their fleet of river vessels longships, for one very good, immediately obvious reason. All the longships in the fleet are identical, and ours was called Viking Bragi. Whilst many passengers quickly hit the buffet, we were content to sit quietly with cups of tea to calm down after the frenetic boarding process, and also to absorb the ambience of the vessel that would be our base for the next fortnight. At this point you may well ask, why a river cruise? Well, it's a means of getting up close with your chosen country, without all the daily packing and unpacking associated with a traditional coach tour. Or so we thought at the time. Why this particular river cruise? Well, Western Europe has always been my favourite destination. As far as I'm concerned, it's the cradle of civilization. But it was the prospect of getting up close with the castles along the Rhine that was the clincher for me. I had, perhaps unrealistically, high expectations of this cruise. All the promotional material presents it as a relaxing meander along tranquil waterways, watching the scenery drift past from your top deck sun lounger whilst sipping your favourite refreshment. There is an element of that, if you can beat off all the more seasoned travellers before they can snaffle all the sun loungers, but good luck with that. So, as we would discover, the actual experience is somewhat different. We had booked Veranda Stateroom 209, roughly amidships on the middle of 3 decks. Once our stateroom was ready for us, we eagerly set about exploring its features. It didn't take long.
Oh, missed the bit right open the door. I realised you were in the bathroom. Let's do it again. There's another ship out there.
Limited space at the dock meant that the ships were docked side by side rather than end to end, so we needed to cross through another ship before we could enter our particular ship. Small but perfectly formed. After the drinks and live music session, the welcome briefing, the safety briefing, dinner, and then the evening entertainment, we would cast off at 11 p.m, cruising overnight towards Kinderdijk, Netherlands. Sunday, October 8. Today's included shore excursion would feature traditional Dutch windmills. It would be our first taste of the regimented daily routine that we would be obliged to follow. Far from a relaxing start to our journey, we would be expected to gather on shore by 8:20 a.m, ready for a morning out. Sunrise at Kinderdijk was at 7:53 a.m, so in order to be on time we would need to get up well before dawn, perform one's ablutions, dress, breakfast, and then prepare for a morning away from the ship. I have a particular loathing for rising in the dark, especially when on holiday. So this schedule for our first day did not portend well for maintaining my good humour. Like giant robot sentinels guarding against alien invasion, the Kinderdijk windmills have stood tirelessly for centuries, guarding against invading seawater levels, so that the surrounding lands can be kept dry. Built in 1728 as water pumps, they were given additional help from 1868, when 2 steam-powered pumping stations were added to the water management scheme. In 1924, the steam pumps were replaced by a diesel-powered pumping station. Even today, the mills are kept in working order in the event of a diesel shortage or power outage or other calamity that put the pumping stations out of action. The ship had moved upstream whilst we were touring the windmills, so we were transported by coach to the village of Gorinchem, with a 15-minute stroll through the town to get to the ship. Monday, October 9. From Gorinchem we had cruised overnight on the river Waal before joining the Rhine as we crossed into Germany. At 9:30 in the morning the ship docked briefly at Zons to let off guests for the morning's excursion, a walking tour of Cologne. It was a welcome, more leisurely start to the day. While we were on the excursion, the ship would cruise further upstream and dock in Cologne itself. Except for its remarkable cathedral, Cologne is utterly unremarkable. The guide did his best to make the city seem interesting, but it just wasn't. The largest Gothic cathedral in Northern Europe is overwhelmingly the principal attraction. Thankfully, it largely escaped the damage that ravaged the city during World War II. Now, having visited the cathedral, I can confidently say that it is well worth stopping at Cologne, if only to see its cathedral.
Sind und spreche Ihnen, die Sie hier sind, noch eine Einladung aus. Wenn Sie möchten, folgen Sie mir auf dem alten Pilgerweg zum Dreikönigen-Schrein, wo Sie diesen heiligen drei Königen besonders nahe kommen können.
There was the option to spend the afternoon in the city, but we chose to return to the ship, have lunch and relax. As we sat down to dinner, the ship cast off, heading further upstream on the Rhine, through Bonn, towards Koblenz. Tuesday, October 10. That day I was excited about the morning's tour. We would be visiting our first Rhine castle, and it would be a beauty. Our berth in Koblenz was one of the more scenic, located at the German corner, the confluence of the Rhine and Moselle rivers. It was right next to the town centre and opposite the Ehrenbreitstein fortress, a relatively modern structure built by Prussia between 1817 and 1828 as the backbone of the regional fortification system. With our guide, we were transported to Braubach, where the castle watches over the town as it has since the 13th century. Marksburg Castle was built with strong fortifications and was never besieged by enemies.